In Bloons TD6, heroes get stronger every time they level up. Normally when they reach level 20, they gain a significant increase in power because as level 20 is the final level, you need to give the player something good to reward them for making it that far. And since most of the time heroes don't reach level 20 until near the end of Impoppable or Chimps, it's a pretty good power boost and sometimes necessary to beat the match. And when I say significant power increase, I mean really significant. For example, Atine gets a permanent death drone, Geraldo gains the ability to create god tier paragons, and Azili gains the ability to delete fortified bads. And at first, the new hero Rosalia seems like a similar situation. Level 20 brings buffs to both kinetic charge and the scatter missile ability. But the main thing we're focusing on today is Guardian Automaton, the thing where Rosalia makes the anti-bloon 30% cheaper. And at first, Guardian Automaton sounds really good. I mean, what's not to like about making one of the most expensive tier 5s in the game 30% cheaper, right? But the thing is, it's almost useless, and in today's video I'm gonna explain why. So make sure to stick around to the end to see why I think this seemingly overpowered upgrade is actually completely useless. So to showcase the problem with Guardian Automaton, I'm going to use a Chimps game I played with Rosalia as an example. Now you might be wondering, why did I start with a sub in this game? Well, the truth is, it's absolutely necessary because with Rosalia's scaling curve, even on expert maps, she doesn't reach level 20 until round 101, and that's with her being placed as soon as possible. And keep in mind, that's on an expert map, which has heroes level up faster. On this map, she won't reach level 20 until past round 110. Fortunately, there is a way to make her level up faster, and that's through the power of Energizer. No, not that Energizer, I'm talking about the 5th tier top path sub, which has 50% more hero XP gain with heroes in its radius. The only problem with Energizer is that it's expensive, almost $35,000 in medium mode. And I am aware that a lot of defenses use Energizer anyway, but if you're using it just for the purpose of getting Rosalia to level 20 like I'm doing here, then it costs more than the discount from Guardian Automaton. But for the purposes of this, let's say that I was trying to get Energizer anyway. Alright, but the trick is, it's hard to get to it in the first place because the step before our Energizer is Plutonium Reactor, which it is pretty strong, but it's not super powerful. It's a $4,000 tower and a support tower, so it's not majorly overpowered like many other towers. I ended up conducting the test on Resort because it's a super easy map, but the truth is, a lot of maps require you to get a lot more defense before you get Energizer because Plutonium Reactor just can't carry the mid game. Thankfully, Resort being Resort, all I needed for mob damage was the 000 Super Monkey, which was honestly fine because I knew I would need it later on anyway. But as you can see, it still takes a really long time to get the 33k in hard mode for the Energizer, even without buying anything else. And keep in mind, this is the best case scenario. I tried doing this without buying the Super Monkey first, and no matter what I tried, it just wouldn't work, even on this map. And while harder maps do have a slightly better XP rate, they also require you to buy more stuff so you don't die. Back to normal speed, and here we are on round 52, and as you can see, I had to use Rosalia's abilities just so I wouldn't die on the round, because otherwise I would have been absolutely cooked. At this point I was only about 2k away from the Energizer, but I had to use both abilities just to survive, and on other maps it would have been worse. So round 54 was the round the Energizer ended up getting purchased on, and keep in mind this is the best case scenario. Less than 3,000 was spent outside of Rosalia and the Plutonium Reactor. So now, every round, Rosalia is gaining 50% more XP than she would normally, and you might be thinking, that's good, right? Well, yes, it is good, but it still will take a really long time for her to reach level 20. Thankfully, now that I had the Energizer purchased, I was free to actually upgrade the Super Monkey and work on getting the Tech Terror, and credit to this defense, it was actually super easy from this point. All the mobs just got obliterated by the Robo Monkey, and everything past that just got deleted by the Energizer. I know you might be wondering what point I'm eventually going to make here, but I'm getting to that, so make sure to keep watching. This will all make sense soon, I promise. So I ended up getting the Tech Terror on round 77, and now it was just a waiting game to see when Rosalia would reach level 20. Fast forward to round 90, and I had 50k saved up by this point, meaning I only needed 25k more for the anti-bloon, and Rosalia still was not level 20. Plus, at this point, with a Tech Terror for the main DPS, the defense was getting quite sketchy, even on Resort. I ended up eventually dying at round 92, but I just decided to restart from that round and continue from there because I already got the Black Border on this map probably 5 times by now. At that point, I decided to finally cross-path my Tech Terror. I had been waiting because I genuinely wasn't sure which path was better. The knockback path is genuinely just as good as the other one, it seems, even when camo isn't a factor. Either way, the cross-path didn't matter too much, it just meant I had a little less money to work with now. Fast forward to round 94, and I finally decided to check Rosalia's level. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, but she was only level 18 at this point. I was genuinely caught off guard by this one because at this point she had been under Energizer influence for over 40 rounds. I expected at least like late level 19 by now, though if I'm being honest I really wanted level 20, but yeah, it was worse than I thought. At round 96, I saw that I had $74,000, less than $2,000 away from what I needed for the anti-bloon. Once I used the ability, I had all the money I needed. But then I saw that Rosalia was level 19 and less than $15,000 away from unlocking Guardian Automaton and saving like $23,000 from the anti-bloon. So of course, I decided to make the first smart financial choice I've made since I got divorced, and I spent $15,000 to save $23,000. Of course, after this, the run was free because anti-bloon is overpowered, so basically I went through all of that just to save $9,000 on a tower that I could have afforded by this point anyway. Of course, considering this strategy 100% required the Energizer, I basically spent $35,000 to save $9,000, but we don't talk about that. So as you can see, on beginner maps, Guardian Automaton is pointless because you'll be spending more on Energizer than you could possibly save using this. Of course, I knew that intermediate maps had faster hero leveling, so of course I had to test it on downstream to see if this would actually work. I chose this map because in my opinion, it was the best intermediate map for this, and also because I hadn't gotten a Black Chimps medal on it yet, and I was hoping I could maybe get a good run out of this. Unfortunately, since downstream is just a mostly easy map instead of an absolutely free one like Resort, I had to get more upgrades than I wanted to. I had to get a Moab glue, and I had to get 2 Super Monkey upgrades, and I absolutely hated myself for it because I knew Energizer would take longer. And in case you're wondering, I put off buying those upgrades as long as possible, but after like 30 deaths and probably an hour of footage I cut out of this, I eventually just decided I had to because I was never going to get it done otherwise. But hey, at the beginning of round 61, I was in fact able to get Energizer. Let the games begin. Once again, rounds 61 to 80 were free because even though downstream's an intermediate map, it's still pretty easy. Of course, the trouble started popping up a lot sooner this time, mainly because of my bad ability timings, but yeah, I started dying on round 85. At this point, my Black Chimps medal was absolutely sunk, but I knew I had to keep going for the science. Once I got to round 91, I discovered that she really hadn't leveled up any faster than in the other game, which made sense because I got Energizer like 7 rounds later, plus I had put Rosalia down later in the beginning. And after a while, this got really annoying because even with the Moab glue, I was still dying multiple times per round because Rosalia just straight up was not strong enough for this, even at level 19. And in the end, I had to give up on the anti-bloon because with how much it cost to level her up to 20, I still couldn't buy it, and I knew that if I didn't have more defense for round 95, I would die. I had tested it so many times previously. So in the end, unless someone can come up with a strategy far more optimized than mine was, the extra 10% XP from intermediate maps really doesn't make up for the extra strategy and towers required to survive. So once again, this is another example of Guardian Automaton being completely useless and impractical. Of course, I wanted to give Guardian Automaton a fighting chance, so I decided to consider how it could be used in other modes and other practical uses of it. One thing I'd like to point out is that it does stack, so if you have a squad of 4 Rosalias, the anti-bloon can be free. Of course, with the way hero leveling works, that means each Rosalia gets a quarter of the XP that she would normally get, meaning it would probably take until like round 150 or 160 to get that, and by then, you're probably dead because the Rosalias aren't that strong. Now you might be thinking, what about least cash chimps with Rosalia? I'm pretty sure a least cash attempt with any hero would not be an anti-bloon and an Energizer, because remember, even on expert maps you don't get enough XP for this. Now you might be thinking, what about other modes where heroes level up quicker? Well, first off, they don't level up that much quicker, and in other modes, you can get farms. If you spent as much on farms as the Energizer cost, you would probably make more money than you would have saved on the anti-bloon anyway. And if you're wondering about half cash and the significance of the money savings there, be realistic, nobody is buying an anti-bloon in half cash. So in conclusion, Guardian Automaton is not completely useless, but the truth is any possible application of it can be done better by something else. Want to run 4 Rosalias to make the anti-bloon free? No, because that'll take so long that you're better off just getting a zillion Brickle as the heroes and buffing a VTSG or something. And the truth is, I wanted to give Guardian Automaton a chance. I even thought about how it could be used in challenges, but the truth is, unless the challenge is as long as a regular game, it'll be cheaper to just buy the anti-bloon than to buy all those Rosalia levels, because challenges don't start you at the hero it would be leveled at if it was that point in a normal game. So in conclusion, while Guardian Automaton is an interesting perk, there is no situation where it is not outclassed by something else. Anyway, guys, if you made it this far, thank you for coming to my 2 a.m. caffeine-fueled TED Talk. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to use my creator code ShadowViperBTD to help support my channel. Viewer support really means a lot to me because it takes a lot of effort to make these videos. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.